Hey everyone, welcome back to another podcast. Today is episode 6. This is the TIMO podcast, and I'm your host, Tim Bialik, founder of TIMO Athletics Group, a soccer development company where we help athletes both on and off the field reach their potential. Today's episode is an important topic and is one that I believe a lot of athletes face. I think this is a topic that can resonate with a lot of athletes, and that is external pressure. Overcoming external pressures, in your sport, maybe in life, maybe it's, friends, family, and basically yourself. So yeah. Today, we're going to be tackling something I believe every athlete faces, but doesn't always know how to handle, which is overcoming external pressures. From parents, maybe coaches, to a very popular topic, social media, maybe expectations from fans. Athletes are, we're constantly being judged. We're constantly being evaluated, and we're constantly being compared by others and compared by ourselves. The pressure to perform, the pressure to meet these expectations, and prove yourself every single day can feel overwhelming. And when you start to play, not for yourself, but to meet someone else's expectations or standards, that's when the game can, it can stop being fun, and, it can start to feel like a burden. When you start to play for other people's standards and expectations, in my experience, you lose the interest that you initially fell in love with, the initial interest that you had in your sport. So today, I really want to break this down, and we're going to focus on these external pressures. We're going to focus on where does these external pressures come from? How does it impact your mindset? How does it impact your performance on the field, on the court, in the rink? And most importantly, how can you take control of this and rise above it? So first and foremost, I just want to talk about, a personal story of mine, of my experience with external pressures. I remember a time, I've dealt with a lot of external pressures my entire life. I had a lot of internal pressures, but I was also affected by external pressures. I remember a time when, soccer wasn't just about the love of the game. It actually became about proving people wrong. And, that's, a direction that I didn't want to go into, but I did. Whether it was coaches, whether it was my own teammates, whether it was people online on social media, I felt like every mistake that I made confirmed their doubts with me. I was constantly comparing myself. I was constantly putting a pressure on myself in accordance to other people's expectations. And, the pressure to perform at a high level just wasn't coming from within. It was not coming from within. It was coming from the outside. And to be honest, it was so exhausting. I was constantly in my head. Every single pass, every single move, every single sprint, decision that I made, I was worrying about what other people were thinking about me. And, I sit here today and I think about this, and I just can't believe that, I put myself in that situation. I couldn't believe that my mind was wired in that type of way. But, at the moment, I had no idea what I was doing. That's just where my mindset was. I was constantly trying to meet the expectations of others and not for myself. I was worrying about what other people thought. And instead of playing freely, I started not to fail rather than, playing to always succeed. It took me a long time to realize that I was letting, all these external pressures control me. It was controlling my personal life. But it was controlling my game. And, once I shifted my mindset and focused on my own standards of success, that's when everything changed. It all started by me, again, self-reflecting, sitting with myself and evaluating my performances. Why did my performance go down? Why am I making more incomplete passes? Why am I not getting more assists or scoring goals? Why am I losing interest in this game? That's when I set a self-reflection, sat with myself, looked at myself in the mirror, and I realized that, I need to play for myself. Stop caring about what other people think. Stop caring about what other people's expectations, and start focusing on your own standards of success. And I guarantee it, when you change this mindset and you implement this mindset into your game, everything will change. If you've ever felt like, you've been carrying this weight of expectations from others, and like I said, it could come from fans. It could come from your friends, your coaches. And, in my experience, a lot of it can come from, I hate to say it, but it can come from parents. As a kid, as a teen, as a kid, I know you want to, make your parents proud and play your best. But if that's the reason why you're playing, sooner or later it'll catch up and you'll get in this, rabbit hole of playing for other people's expectations. Start playing for yourself. I get it. I've been there. I've experienced this. I let other people's expectations control my game and control my interest. But I promise you, there's a way to break free and take back control of the love for your game and to become the player that you naturally are. So, with that being said, what causes external pressures? I talked about it earlier briefly, but external pressures don't just appear out of nowhere. It comes from different sources. And then, identifying them is the first step to overcoming them. And here are a few, I would say, the most common, sources of external pressures. First and foremost, parental expectations, your parents. Like I mentioned, parents want the best for you. But sometimes their expectations can feel like pressure. I get that. I experienced it firsthand. If you feel like you're playing to make them proud instead of playing because you love it, that pressure can start weighing down on you. And I completely understand. I don't want you to get away from this. I think you should always try to make your parents proud. But, take it with a grain of salt, right? Of course, as a son, as a daughter, you want to make your parents proud. But my advice to you is that in the long run, this pressure can start weighing you down. And I believe that once you get this out of your head, and yes, while having a little bit of, drive and motivation to make your parents proud, I want you to mainly just start playing for yourself. Start playing because you love it. And find that internal motivation. The second is, your coaches and teammates. Coaches push athletes to be their best. That's what they're there for. But sometimes, it can feel like no matter what you do, you're never enough. Add in that competition with teammates. And suddenly, the pressure to prove yourself is just nonstop. I get it. It's a constant cycle. You're always trying to, push, but you sometimes feel like it's not enough. This happens, but You just got to keep pushing it, keep driving, keep believing yourself, and bet on yourself. The third source would be, obviously social media and comparing, scrolling through social media. You see these highlight reels of other athletes. You really only see their best. And that's the issue. You're comparing with other athletes, but the thing is that what you are seeing is their best. You're never seeing their struggles. You're never seeing their failures. So I think this is a fabricated comparison. It makes you feel like you always have to be perfect. And, that type of perfect pressure is not realistic. So I challenge you to stop comparing yourself and take social media with a grain of salt. And, the last one is, the fear of letting people down. And, like I said, I experienced this both in my youth career and in college. Maybe it's your family, maybe it's your school, maybe it's your teammates. When people believe in you, the fear of disappointing them can control how you perform. And I get it. That's a natural experience in sports. You never want to let people down. So I just want you to take that note that the people in your life that love you, your parents, your friends, they know the hard work that you're putting in every single day, and you're not letting them down. They love you. They know that you're doing your best, and they just want the best for you. So when you go on the field, don't fear of letting your parents down, your friends down. Just play with love and play with faith, and just know that your parents and everyone around you that support you are supporting you because of who you are, and it has nothing to do with your performance. So reflecting back on these 4 parental expectations, coaches and teammates, social media, fear of letting people down. The good news with these is that these pressures only have power over you if you let them. That's it. All these pressures and all these expectations and outside things, they only have power over you if you let it. It's a mindset. And today we're going to talk about how to break free from this and to refocus and rewire your mindset so that these external pressures don't have power over you. So how does these external pressures affect you and your mindset? When external pressures take over, it can show up in a lot of different ways. You can, start playing tight. You can start playing tight instead of playing free. When you're constantly worried about what other people think, you stop trusting your instincts. You stop trusting your gut feeling, and you start to second guess yourself. That, in my opinion, and it's never ended well with me. Every single time I second guessed myself, it always led in the wrong direction. So please trust your instincts and stop second guessing. That leads to hesitation, mistakes, and what we've always been talking about, underperformance. External pressures can also lead to burnout and the loss of passion. When your sport starts to feel like an obligation instead of something that you love, that is the definition of burnout. You lose the joy, and that makes you fall in love with the game in the first place. So burnout and loss of passion is a big one, and I directly experienced that firsthand. And the last one is anxiety and overthinking. If you're constantly afraid of failure because of these external expectations, your brain is in overdrive. You're thinking way too much. And as an athlete, thinking too much is actually the enemy of peak performance. That is why you have to trust your initial instincts, stop second guessing, and stop overthinking. So how do we do this? How do we overcome these external pressures? How do we take back control and take the power away from these external pressures? How do we take control? So I want to focus on 3 key strategies to help you if you're ever feeling this experiences where you feel that you're losing passion, that you're overthinking, that you're burning out, that you're playing too tight, that you're not playing free. I want you to listen to these 4 strategies and apply these to your game and into your mentality. The first one is shift your focus to your own standards. Ask yourself, what do I want from this sport? What do I want from playing soccer, from playing basketball? Why did I even start this in the first place? What standards do I want to live by? When you play for yourself and not for other people's approval, you take back this control. I want to repeat myself. When you play for yourself and not for other people's approvals, you take back control. The second strategy is detach your self-worth from performance. You are not your last game. One bad performance does not define you. I'm going to repeat this again. One bad performance does not define who you are as a person, let alone an athlete. Your value comes from your work ethic, your character, and how you respond to situations, not from what other people think. So detach your self-worth from performance. The third strategy is limit social media and external noise. Parents are right. Get rid of social media. If you're scrolling through social media, and if scrolling through social media makes you compare yourself to others, take a break from it and focus on your journey. Stop focusing on what other people are doing. Focus on yourself and focus on your journey. You are unique. God created you uniquely with a gift. Focus on yourself. Focus on your journey. It is truly unique. It is truly special. And do it. And the fourth and last strategy that I want to talk about is, have conversations with those who pressure you. If you feel pressure from a coach, from a parent, or from a teammate, have a real conversation with them. Let them know how their expectations are affecting you. You guys, communication solves a lot of problems, and I mean a lot. Communication can change everything. So have that conversation. Sit down with your teammates. Sit down with your parents and advocate for yourself. This was the biggest, and it can be tough because it is a hard conversation. But this is life. And if you don't have hard conversations in life, it's going to be tough. So moving forward, shift your focus to your own standards. Detach your self-worth from your performance. Limit social media and that external noise, and have conversations with those who pressure you. These are the 4 key strategies that I have thought about on how you can overcome the external pressures that are taking control of your performance. I want to talk about just very quickly a few, athletes that experience this, professional athletes that experience this, and how they took control of the situation. Giannis from the Milwaukee Bucks. After losing in the playoffs, he was asked if the season was a failure. If you haven't seen this, I recommend looking it up. He lost in the playoffs, and a reporter asked if this season was a failure. And the greatest part was his response. He said, "There is no failure in sports, only steps to success." That is a mindset that blocks out external pressure. There is no failure in sports, only steps to success. Think about it. Christian Pulisic, as the face of U.S. soccer, he dealt with insane pressure, but he constantly talks about focusing on his growth instead of this outside noise. Andrew Luck, one of the best quarterbacks, He walked away at his peak, not because of the pressure, but because he valued his own well-being over external expectations. These athletes all remind us that success isn't always about proving people wrong. It's about staying true to yourself. You know, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but you know, I did the same thing. I experienced 3 hip surgeries, and I sat down with myself and realized that I could no longer play, or, you know, I wouldn't be able to play at the pro level. And all my life I wanted to play pro, but I sat down with myself and I removed these expectations that other people had on me to go play pro, and I did what was right for myself and what was right for my body. And I retired from the game, and I moved on and entered a new chapter of my life. So staying true to yourself is a very, very important pillar. And here is a challenge that I have for you this week. I want you to write down your own definition of success. How do you define success? What is your definition of success? Not what others' definition of success, other people's. What is your definition of success? What does success mean to you, not your coach, your parent, or social media? After that, I want you to identify one external pressure that's weighing you down right now and how you can start letting it go. And the third is do one thing this week just for the love of the game. Play this game without worrying about expectations. Just enjoy it. Do one thing this week just for the love of the sport you play, and just enjoy it. That's a wrap, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in on this episode. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe to this podcast, the TIMO podcast. We have a lot more episodes being released. We released once a week, and I'm very passionate about these podcasts. I really want to share important topics and how they resonated with me so that I can resonate with you if you are experiencing the same thing. So please subscribe to the podcast if you want to tune in on future episodes. Share it with a teammate, share it with a family member, share it with a friend. If this podcast's topic resonates with anyone you know, please share it. Likewise, also check out TIMO Athletics Group. We have a few services that have currently launched, and we want to help you improve your game on and off the field, whether that's, private one-on-one coaching on the field, whether that's one-on-one mentorship. If you're not local to where I am located, and you still want mentorship, either looking, mental strength coaching, whether you want to do video analysis, we have that online mentorship as well. Or if you're a high schooler that is thinking about playing college soccer, we do have a college recruiting mentorship program where I give you tips and tricks and help you prepare and help you stand out amongst college coaches so that you can achieve your dreams of playing college soccer. We have the resources, and we want to help you achieve your dreams on and off the field. So please check out TIMOathleticsgroup.com and check out our services, and schedule a 30-minute free strategy call with me. Remember, guys, you don't have to prove anything to anyone. Play for yourself. Compete with freedom, and most importantly, enjoy the sport that you once fell in love with. See you next time.